Hey guys, it's Drew again. The greatest hitter of all time, one of the meanest players of all time. Today I want to look at some of the items that I've acquired, some of the ones I would love to have, and that one that I don't think I'll ever get to own, of none other than one of the most interesting players to ever have played the game. Today we're going to take a deeper look into the great Ted Williams. So let's check it out. Ted Williams is known as one of the greatest hitters of all time, and it's really up for debate. Where would he rank? Easily in the top 10, probably top five, and a lot of people may say the best hitter of all time. But I want to talk about his collectability. I want to talk about how he's represented within my collection now. I am not a Ted Williams fan. I gravitate towards players that have great stories, and he has a great story. But I love the interaction between fans and players and guys that played the game hard and played the game as part of a team. And Ted Williams was sort of a standalone. He was arrogant. He was cocky. He wasn't great with the fans. He wasn't great as a teammate. But there's no denying that he was still a great player. So I want to show off some of the different items. So I'm going to sort of rapid fire through some of these things. You've seen a lot of these items before, whether you've seen mine or that I don't have anything super rare, but I do have some interesting pieces. So I want to start out with this pin. Now this pin I picked up about a year or so ago at a card show. It was only $10, and to me it's just a great picture of him. The black and white photo, I just love it. It's sort of a nice little add-on piece, and I enjoy that pin. If you're ever wanting a Ted Williams but think, well, I can't afford it, they're so expensive, which, they can get pricey, a great example of a Ted Williams card that's absolutely a vintage card would be from his 1971 Topps as he was a manager. And this is a great photo of him laughing. The picture on the back is a little bit more realistic of who he was, sort of the crotchety old man. But this is a great way and an inexpensive way to be able to get an authentic Ted Williams card from in the vintage era. Ted Williams, as you know, he sort of spanned over the different eras. He does have his rookie in the pre-war era, the post-war era. He was all the way through the Topps and Bowman War. He had cards in both, not as many Bowman as he did the Topps. And then finally, he finished out his career as far as a collecting, where he had his own set, where Fleer produced an entire set of just Ted Williams cards in 1959. So he sort of spans over that stuff. He's got interesting food issues. As far as Topps, I don't have any Bowman represented in my collection, but what I do have with Topps is we'll start with the besides the 71, the 57, which was card number 1 in the set, and a great picture of Ted Williams. And this is my Ted Williams from 57. I also have from my 1956 set, of course, the 56 Ted Williams. And what I love about this card, besides the design, which fits so well with the set, is the fact that Topps thought to lighten up the dark area of the dirt so you could still see the facsimile signature. I really enjoy that. As opposed to on his 1971, there is a facsimile signature in there, but it's very hard to see against his dark jacket, and they didn't do any other sort of airbrushing up to be able to see it. But in 1956, they did do that, and I really think it's cool. Ted Williams has this great autograph. It's sort of known as, oh man, that's great. Of course, it was highly forged, but I actually do have a Ted Williams autograph. I have an autographed ball that I've never shown on here, and it's highly toned. You can see the sort of the toning of the ball because it was probably well handled ahead of time. But it's got a Ted Williams signature clean across the sweet spot. I absolutely love this ball. It fits perfectly with my autograph ball collection that I've never really shown off here. But I do have this Ted Williams, and it's just a great piece. So back to his cards, I also have one of the two from 1954. I have card number 1. And famously, he was the bookends of this set, card number 1 and card number 250, the last card. And I owned number 250 at one point. It was pretty well beat up, but I actually traded it straight up for the 57 with a friend of mine. So, but I do still have that one and another great picture. And then Another card that I do have is actually in a display that I made. So I'm going to show the display quickly, but it's his 1958 Topps All-Star. And what I did was I had taken it, and I've shown this off before too, but I had taken the card and I paired it up with a Sports Illustrated from 1957 actually, of the All-Star Game, and the All-Star Game showing Stan Musial and Ted Williams, battling it out as the greatest hitters of the American and National League at the time. And I took their two All-Star cards from that year and put them in the display. It was one of the earliest displays I ever came up with and put together, but just really, really great piece, and I just love the way it hangs on the wall where I do have it. So there's his 58 along with that magazine. Speaking of magazines, I have a couple of others. I have this one which shows off the greatest hitters. They're talking about the 1949 season. And this one's got the Ted Williams, it's got Joe DiMaggio, who's nearing the end of his career, and Stan Musial, three of the greatest hitters of all time, all three of them in that same debate of greatest hitters of all time, and they all played at the exact same time in that same era, overlapping, especially in the 40s, where there's so little representation of cards because of the war, but all three of these players just dominated through that decade. And so this one is a great magazine showing that off. And then finally, I've got the Sport magazine, and this one is from 1951, and this is just a beautiful image of Ted. He looks so young there, even though this was about halfway through his career. What I love about this is the white background. You know, they didn't add a lot of stuff to it. They just whited it out, and to me, it reminds me of the 54 Wilson Franks card, where they've got that beautiful white background, just making the image pop of Ted Williams. And speaking of that Wilson Franks, now I don't have it, but I do want to mention it. It's a beautiful example of a card, and it's probably the card that I will never own of Ted Williams that I would love to own. And I've always said that the difference between having a dream and having a goal is having a plan. And I did have a dream card of Ted Williams that I turned into a goal card because I ended up having a plan to get it. And I've shown this off before. You guys know my channel, know me personally, know I'm going to show this one. But I was able to pick this card up at the last National up in Cleveland. And I was with some other YouTubers, some other friends. I showed this off the entire weekend, and it's a beautiful example of his 1949 Leaf, and it's just a great example of the card. The color on it is just gorgeous. The image on it, it's one of my favorite sets. It would be the set that I would love to complete that I never will because it's so pricey, but I love this as one of the first editions of post-war cards as they were getting into the big era of the 50s that we all love. And I absolutely just love and adore this card. I had a dream. It became a reality when I had a plan. But the Wilson Franks, I don't think I'll ever not. If I did have a card that I would love to own that I don't have that maybe I could, it would probably be the 1951 Bowman. I love that image of it, and I've never owned that card. And maybe someday I can start to accumulate and save and be able to get to that card. I don't know. Maybe someday. I think that's pretty much it. So those are all my Ted Williams pieces. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, what Ted Williams do you have? Which ones do you wish you had? You know, where do you feel he ranks within the list of greatest hitters? Was he number one? Was he just in the top 5? Or you know what, his jerk status took him down a few. I don't really know. But I enjoyed showing this off. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoy the holiday season coming up. And until next time, you guys be good.